Morning. Morning, Z. Nami, Patam, Falco Flyer. Good morning. That's right. Go Cubs. Sorry, I'm assuming you're a Reds fan. 1990 was a long time ago. It's too bad. Reds and Pirates? You like two teams in the same division? That seems unethical. But we don't judge here. Actually, no. Like, a good chunk of the Popcast is me judging, isn't it? Also, I think the storm just went through. It was, as I was finishing up my notes for this, there was a storm going through. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't knock out our power. But I think it's gone now. Worst nightmare is if, and it's going to happen at some point, my internet's going to go out or power's going to go out during a podcast. Like, that's going to happen at some point. Just hope it doesn't happen for this episode because I'm kind of excited about it. Like, there's so many things with streaming that are just 100% out of your control. I got Ethernet hooked up. I got direct connection to my internet, but that doesn't mean the provider can just, oh, we're just having an outage. Nothing you can do about that. Oh, power just went out. Nothing you can do about that. Shoot. I guess if that were to happen, like if a podcast were to break down live, I would just redo the episode not live and then upload it up to YouTube. Or, yeah, and just upload it non-live to YouTube. Getting a heat advisory lately? You must live, well, I shouldn't dox you, but I could take a guess where you live. Well, I guess everybody can. We're nowhere near close to getting heat advisories where I live. I was able to bike yesterday wearing like a t-shirt, hoodie, and a hat and some shorts. So that was nice. That's good weather. Yo, Harry's, this is just it, _Twitch. It's me. It's the real me. Dry heat, yeah, that's not a hint, that's the answer. It gives it away. It snowed where you are? Okay, so it spit snow where we were on Saturday. But I also saw Hammer tweet out that where she was, it was like in the 90s. That's at that same moment, and I'm like, dang. I'd rather, it's like if it's 90 in April, you could imagine. Now, Mr. Rookie, dry heat is fine. Muggy heat is, that'll kill you. Dry heat is it's totally fine. I'm sure Arizona's lovely this time of year. 20 centimeters of snow? You must be from Europe. I don't know what 20 centimeters of snow looks like. I know what inches of snow looks like. Dropped a lot of frames during FNM. Yeah, Sucks. Well, that week that dude was gonna be on the front page of Twitch. Like his internet was just out for that whole week, so it's like one of the most important Twitch weeks of his life, and he couldn't stream because of issues outside of his control. That always sucks. Maybe I should just become a radio broadcast. You guys can now listen to me on XM satellite radio. That'll be the dream. Not stinky. The Chicago Cubs? You're saying the Cubs are not stinky? They might be. They're 2-1 right now. They might get stinky as the year goes on, but for right now, they're pretty decent. Getting any centimeters of snow. Z posted that, what was it, 4chan or whatever? This isn't your mom's rock station. Elephant sounds, car crash. We play rock, nothing but rock. Imagine Dragon starts playing. I'm excited about this episode. I got to do math. That's always a good indicator of fun things to come. 80s, 90s, and now. Yeah. So like 20 years is in that now category? Okay, thanks. It's like millions of songs you could choose to play from, but you're only going to play 5. 80s, 90s, and today. Oh no. I hate that. Just grab the doggone arrow. There we go. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you're leaving your not so hot takes in the hot take Twitter thread, wondering if JPEG was actually in my house in the last episode, having your major LAN event get leaked by Papa John's Pizza, whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, that Twitter thread, I found out the number one issue people have with Splatoon apparently is people that ship Agent 3 with Agent 8. I didn't realize that was a thing and that people had such hot takes for and against that. So I'm kind of glad that I'm a part of the competitive community to where I have no idea what the hell they're talking about or have a strong opinion either way. But that's the only thing I learned from that hot take thread. And hey, congratulations to Papa John's for just absolutely spoiling everything here. I mean, were they going to tell you who kills Voldemort in that tweet as well? My goodness, so many different events in that tweet that said, here's all the events Papa John's is sponsoring for Smash Brothers. And you're like, wait a minute, like I didn't even know half of those were a thing. And the rumor behind the scenes is a lot of TOs for those events that haven't been technically announced yet are pretty understandably not so happy about that tweet. But so, well, we know Riptide's a thing now. Thank you, Papa John's. By the way, I shouldn't be leaking this, but the date for Super Jump 2 is going to be announced in a Taco Bell commercial coming up, so stay tuned for that. News of tournaments that's going to be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. Squid Boards is this Saturday. Hey, makes sense. Magic's in chat. Hey, Magic. Make sure you sign up for it. It's going to be a double elimination format because you guys complained to high heaven about Swiss. Understandably so. Swiss is a necessary evil, but you're going to enjoy double elimination. It's got a few issues with that as well, but much better than Swiss. If Squid Boards does not something that captures your fancy, maybe you're more interested in Low Ink. It's going to be not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after that, the 23rd and the 24th. Make sure you sign up for it today or Friday of the right before the tournament. Either way, make sure you sign up, get your exemption requests in, get your sub applications in, do all of that stuff. Staff members are standing by to deny your team into Low Ink today. So give them the opportunity to do that. Several other tournaments I could sit here and talk about. If you pull up the Sindao Q calendar, there are about 20 gazillion different tournaments coming up. About 20 gazillion tournaments last week, and the whole lot of tournaments you didn't know about that aren't on the Sindao Q calendar, including the one yesterday from Paydia Gaming or whatever that had a $100 prize pool that I saw on the Sindao Q calendar all week, but nobody signed up for because who the heck was that and what a single elimination tournament? There's some weird stuff showing up on those on the Sindao Q tournaments. So there's a lot of weird tournaments showing up. Hey, keep an eye out for stuff. There might be something that interests you. The community's not dead. Unless it is. Today, we are recapping Minnow Cup and a gazillion other tournaments that happened the past weekend. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 significant tournaments and a college LAN that took place. The first ever in-person college match of Splatoon took place. A historic event. Princeton versus Yale, I believe, was the first ever college football game back in the 1800s. I believe that was the first ever, even any football game, college, NFL, or anything. So this might be a historic event. This could be the great granddaddy of all college Splatoon events coming up. We'll talk about that for a little bit. And no, Mizuno, you didn't have to DM me to talk about it on the podcast. I already had stuff written down. I wasn't going to miss an opportunity to talk about my favorite team of all time. One of my favorite teams of all time. But first, remember Shopping Spree? The unique gimmick tournaments that Spawnpoint TV came up with back in November. That was back in November. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was literally half a year ago that Shopping Spree came out with that event. It was a great concept for a great cause. I forget the actual name of the charity they had back then, but I don't think it was Project Hope. Project Hope is what they went with this time. I think they were going with an organization that supplied games to kids in hospitals or gaming equipment to kids in hospitals. So another charity event, and it felt good. There were some issues with it. The used the Swiss format. Top Cut didn't accurately reflect the number of teams that signed up for the tournament. You had a team go 5-1 that missed Top Cut. And I think there were some other things wrong with that. V-Doolies was fine. V-Doolies was fine for $3. That was that. But still, Shopping Spree was a great tournament. I think the vast majority of the community loved it, and we were excited for Shopping Spree too. On March 27th of this year, which was a Sunday, my wife and I have this tradition, and if you guys are in a relationship where you live with the person that you're in that relationship, or you're married, here's something I highly suggest you do. Set aside one day a week, every single day a week, to where you are spending time with that person consistently at the same time, same day. For us, it is Sunday at breakfast. We know we don't have to when we wake up on Sunday, we don't have to be like, well, where are we going to go eat or what are we going to do? We know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go to the same place. We're going to hang out with just each other and also just keep an eye on our phones or something. My parents did that. They go to McDonald's for breakfast all the time. And it's interesting because whenever we go, like the kids, we go back home to our parents' house for whatever, and they go out to their thing, we're not invited. It's just them. They just go by themselves. So March the 27th, we're waiting for our waffles from Waffle House. And I just look at my phone and I see this new event from Spawnpoint TV. Oh, cool. What is it? Think before you ink. The first, or the team that gets closest to 20 to 48% is the winner. What? Nani? What is that? Who came up with that concept? Who asked for that? That's kind of weird. Now, a lot of thoughts went through my mind. Of course, being the competitive person that I am, the first thought that went through my mind is, what is the optimal strategy for this? There's probably a way that I could win this tournament somehow. Not that I would, because we weren't playing, we weren't available for it. But I also had a bunch of other thoughts of like, I don't know if this is something that this is going to work or people are going to like this or whatever. But I didn't tweet it. I didn't say anything about it. In fact, when I went on the Popcast that Monday, I briefly mentioned it in the weekly recap, and I basically said, wait and see how it actually works. Because these people in Spawnpoint TV that are making these tournaments, these aren't some low-level teams that are copying and pasting the LSL rulebook to make their own tournaments. No, these are actual people who know what they're doing. They pay attention to the competitive scene and the casual scene, and they know how tournaments are supposed to work, especially with the feedback they got after Shopping Spree, because you saw a little bit of adjustments here and there, just like quality of life things. Improvements from Shopping Spree to Think Before You Ink. So, as the concept seemed weird on paper, I knew it was something that was at least thought out and fleshed out, and you saw some tweets from members of Spawnpoint. They actually practiced it. They actually labbed it out. So, there was something there. I didn't know what that something was, but you can't judge it until you actually see it happen live in front of your face. Turns out it was actually pretty great. I watched the entire stream from start to finish because I was at work and it was a slow day. So I just sat there and I watched everything in chat. It turned out to be pretty good. The matches were interesting. It raised $1,500 for Project Hope, and it only received positive feedback this time around. There is nothing but good things that were said about this tournament, which was surprising because I thought somebody would complain about it being groups into a double elimination tournament. Groups into a top 16 double elimination. I thought for sure somebody was going to complain about that, but no, it didn't, because they set up their matches to be best of 3, so they got through that double elimination quick. I think it still lasted 5 to 6 hours, which is kind of long, but still, the fact that double elimination went through a lot quicker than what I was expecting it to, I think kind of saved it on the back end there. But yeah, nobody even complained about that. So overall, this tournament worked out much better than what anybody would have expected it to. Other people, though, did not take the approach I did of let's just wait and see before passing judgment on something. Let's wait and see how it actually plays out, because we don't know how it's going to play out. Other people, the vocal minority, had knee-jerk reactions as soon as they saw the tweet on March the 27th. And, they look pretty dumb right now. Now, are they the idiots in chat? I don't think so. You guys might be idiots in chat, but there's hope for you because you're listening to me. I think some of these people might not always listen to the things I have to say or are lurking in chat, but who knows? See, there's hope for everybody here. But we're going to point some things out because it's fun to do. You guys point out when I'm an idiot, so let's point out when other people are stupid. Probably what you knew about this tournament was the negative feedback that it got initially from several people on Twitter, quote retweeting that tweet, saying things that it didn't cater to the competitive scene, that it had a huge prize pool for a gimmick tournament that we don't need right now. Someone said the concept was hilariously stupid. A common theme, though, and something we are going to mathematically break down as being incorrect in a second, is this narrative that several different people were saying, it's a coin flip. Whoever wins these matches, it's going to be a coin flip. Casuals versus competitive players, it's going to be totally equal because whoever wins the match, it just comes down to a flip of a coin. I knew instantly that take was bad. And several people had that take for some reason. I don't know why. I've never seen... I'm assuming the people that said that have never flipped a coin in their life. A coin flip essentially is a 50-50 outcome, right? That you have no control over. You can't control the variables of a coin flip. The only thing you can control is like what side of the coin is facing up before you flick it, right? Like, but even that doesn't change. Oh, if it starts with heads, that means it's more likely to land on the, I don't know. I don't think there is anything you can really do to drag back into that. But, and I think sophomore year of high school is when we started doing permutations and combinations, and I forgot all of those formulas, but thankfully Google does all that work for me. So I can continue to be an ignorant person who didn't pay attention in high school. But even if you didn't go through permutation combinations, you should understand coin flips are something you have no control over. Whereas Splatoon, as crazy of a concept that the game might be, you have control over so many variables that it's not a 50-50 coin flip. You should have known that before the tournament even started. To prove this point, the teams that finished in the top 4, you would expect them to be in a 50-50 scenario, casuals or people you've never heard of. The teams that finished in the top 4. The Heritage team, the long German name team that finished really well in King of the Castle on Sunday. Obviously pretty strong. Oreos, which essentially was Good Morning looking at their roster. Hollow, who finished second place in this tournament and second place to Alliance Rogue in King of the Castle again on Sunday. And the team that won the whole tournament, drum roll please, NFT win. What? Wait, those are all top level players. What are they doing finishing in the top 4 of a coin flip tournament? Even more crazy. During the Swiss round, or the group stage, those 4 teams combined to go per game 51 wins to only 3 losses. If that was a coin flip, the odds of that happening, so you're flipping a coin, 54 times, and it lands on heads 51 out of those 54 times. The odds of that happening are 0.00000001377%. For those keeping track at home, that's 9 zeros. The odds are significantly higher, according to the CDC, for you to be struck by lightning possibly 3 separate times than to get that same kind of coin flip outcome. You're also more likely to win the Powerball in the state of Indiana. So what you're telling me is either those 4 teams combined to put on the luckiest performance any human being on the face of the earth has ever experienced in their life, or it's not a doggone coin flip. So many people with that coin flip mindset. Looks like you were completely off base with that one. So what was the strategy that defied the gods and broke down all the probabilities and combinations and permutations? What was the magical formula that they came up with? Turns out you just don't paint your own side of the map and you just spawn camp. And that's it. This answer was given to us because we saw on stream a matchup that you should never put on stream during the group/Swiss stage of your tournament, because you don't actually, because it's on paper supposed to be a total curb stomp. Of course, I'm talking about Hollow, who finished in second place of this tournament. Played, where did I put down their name? It was the Woobly, there we go. The Wibbly Wobbly Wonders. Now, the Wibbly Wobbly Wonders, they're not totally helpless here. These guys are semi-competitive. They're streamers. They play the game. In fact, they finished in the top third of their group and made top cut. So they're pretty decent players in their own right, and they're there just to have fun. In theory, if it's a coin flip, Hollow, a team loaded with some of the best players in the West, versus the Wibbly Wobbly Wonders, this should be a close back and forth battle, right? No, it turns out Hollow just went directly to mid. They did not paint their side of the map at all. Went directly to mid, spawn camped the crap out of them, and literally for 9 minutes just spawn camped them. It was not close. And I'm not trying to be mean to the Wibbly Wobbly Wonders. I'm just using this as an example that it was extremely easy for top level teams to just kind of dominate and do what they want to do. No coin flip necessary. And with that strategy of not painting your side of the map, but only painting the enemy side of the map, you're getting like 44, 45%. And on the flip side, the other team's only getting like 10 or 15. So yeah, easy free wins there. And I'm glad they put that match on stream. Just because I wanted to see what the strategy was. And again, you would never put that on stream in any other scenario, because it's not fair to the Wibbly Wobbly Wonders, who again did really well, went 3-2 in groups outside of that match, I believe. But still, that was the ultimate strategy. The strategy nobody could come up with. Apparently, all you got to do is just paint the enemy side of the map. That's it. That's it. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. It wasn't any coin flipping or anything like that. Now, when you got to the top 4 teams who all have the same skill level, Hollow cannot spawn camp NFT win and vice versa. So what do you do there? From what I could see watching those matches, it looked like they just played normally. Now, was it a coin flip at the end of who won? I don't think so. If that was the case, maybe the team who's not considered to be one of the best teams outside of Japan would end up at the end result of this tournament. There's still some in-depth strategies going on here that these teams kind of labbed out to figure out who was going to be better than other, rather than just play the game for 3 straight minutes and then let little Judd in the calculator tell you who won there. Oh boy. Now, as much as I'm defending Spawnpoint TV here, there is one thing I do want to point out. There is one negative here that deserves a little bit of attention. People being critical of this tournament were met with, hey, if you don't like it, don't play in it, which is great. Yeah, I agree with that concept. If you don't like Spawnpoint TV's gimmick tournament, hey, guess what? Nobody's forcing you to play in it, so don't do it. Just not sign up for it. They don't care. They're not going to miss you. Bye. Go on. It's like when people say, when people get upset that we don't let them into low ink, or they don't like the format or something, and it's like, okay, it's not going to appeal to everybody. We understand that. We're not trying to please everybody. So if you don't like it, just don't play in it. The problem with this concept with this specific tournament, though, is that it did kind of force other tournaments that were going on that day to change or just cancel their event altogether. On that Sendao Q calendar, on that date already before the Spawnpoint tournament was announced, Minnow Cup was up on there, and Roundy's Bad Ideas Only tournament was up on there. That was a gimmick tournament that also had a prize pool. Those 2 tournaments announced before Spawnpoint TV, up on that Sendao Q calendar date. It was already there. Spawnpoint TV kind of needs to realize that if they're going to do a tournament that caters to both casual / low level players and the with the format they got, and high level competitive players with the massive prize pool they get, that if they just drop and say, we're taking this date, it forces everything else out. Roundy canceled his tournament and, being the gentleman that he is, promoted the Spawnpoint tournament. Minnow Cup said, all right, we're going to move to Sunday, and being the high class organization they are, also promoted, hey, go play in the Spawnpoint thing as well. So I don't agree with the concept of, if you don't like it, don't play in it, when your tournament forced everything else that other people could play in it that day to be canceled, because you can't run at the same time as a $1,000 charity event. You're going to be seen as the a-hole. Oh, you're trying to take teams away from the charity event? Wow, that's kind of rude of you. Well, we were kind of here first and they kind of forced us off the slot. But again, that's kind of my only negative with this. And it's difficult to sit here and say, oh, they should have gone to another date. There's no other date for them to go to in April. They're either running up against Squid Boards this weekend. They're going to compete against Low Ink the weekend after that. Or whatever, there's not Low Tide City the weekend after that. And then May's probably booked all the way through as well. So there's no right answer, but it is, I can understand the frustration coming from some other organizations that already had that date on that had to get marked off. But Pop Gun, didn't Low Ink just do this to Little Squid League? Yes, kind of, we did. Little Squid League announced their tournament first, but we haven't announced our tournament that was going to be on the same day, but was everyone kind of assumes it's going to be on the same weekend before the last weekend of the month. But still, that doesn't excuse us at Low Ink of kind of doing the same thing. So going forward, we kind of had some meetings about this. It's like, hey, we know what dates we're going to do. We can still announce them on the calendar ahead of time and just not open registration to the first of the month. So Little Squid League, we kind of did the same thing to them. I'll admit that to some extent. So it kind of goes both ways, but still, you can't really sit here and say, well, if you don't like it, don't play in it, when you chased out every other event that they're going to do. It's Spawnpoint or nothing for that day. Regardless of that, I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about this tournament a lot the week leading up to this podcast episode. I wrote down a lot of things. So typically when there's something big I know I want to talk about, I won't write down in the final script what I'm going to say. I just kind of make bullet notes of a bunch of different things that I want to talk about, and then I'll just put them down in order. A lot of the bullet notes I wrote down initially after seeing the tournament are not applicable anymore. This tournament's changed my mind about a lot of things the more I've seen it. And I think the overall conclusion I have of this tournament, and Spawnpoint TV's tournaments in general, is that they're ahead of their time. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me take a sip first. It's not that they're ahead of their time as in they figured out this format before anybody else or something like that. No, what I mean is they're not going to be appreciated in the time that we're in here with the competitive scene. All the financial analysts who are not donating anything to the donation pool or the prize pool, who like to go on Twitter and tell other people what they are supposed to do with their money, which we saw a lot during Super Jump. Hey, how come you're giving money to Beta Bracket? Well, because the person who is actually donating money told us that a portion of that money had to go to Beta Bracket. You who are not donating anything, really appreciate your financial advice, but it's not really your decision to do what other people do with their money now, is it? Those people are always going to be there. We get that. But it would not be an issue if this tournament were in a time period where there were more consistent majors going on. And that's not a Spawnpoint issue. But if Spawnpoint was going on at the same time to where Super Jump was a regular thing, and it wasn't all an IPL to carry the scene outside of when Nintendo does their jank stuff, hilariously sending out their gaming chairs this past weekend from their tournaments that concluded over the summer of last year. if there was just more things going on, then Spawnpoint TV wouldn't be seen as the one thing that that is getting the entire community to play anything because it's got a prize pool. It would just be seen as the counterweight. Oh, I don't want to play in a major, but here's this fun turf war event that's got a little bit of a twist and still has a prize pool. That would be cool. But people are seeing this as the only event going on that has a prize pool, and they're just kind of annoyed that it's like, oh my gosh, we can't get an actual event. This narrative that people are burned out of the game and tired of playing it competitively, I'm not convinced that's true, because we're not seeing any opportunity for them to show that it is burned out and tired of this game. The last event we had that was just normal Splatoon that had a significant prize pool was the Reddit tournament, right? Back in January. And before that, it was September with Super Jump. Like, those are the only couple of things we've really had. Everything else has been a gimmick tournament or non-standard Splatoon. Yeah, you got events like SOS and Squid Junction and SAC and Squid Boards that are going on, some of which are open invite or catered to mid-level or whatever. But those don't draw in the top level teams or the high level teams that are begging for something to be excited about. So when there's nothing going on, and then Spawnpoint says, hey, we got $1,000 for this turf war tournament, these people who are complaining about this, if we were in an era without these kind of formats where majors were more consistent, people would appreciate the Spawnpoint tournament a little bit more. And that's not Spawnpoint's fault at all. Them being ahead of the curve is not their issue. It's on everybody else to kind of catch up. But I definitely see Spawnpoint as the movie It's a Wonderful Life or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We love those movies now. It's a Wonderful Life is kind of depressing, but I guess I think that's why It's a Wonderful Life wasn't really well received back when it came out, because it's like during the Depression and the movie's kind of depressing, and at the end it's just like the whole town is giving up their life savings to save this dude, I guess, or whatever. Charlie and Chocolate Factory, same way. When it first came out, nobody really liked it. It's only until now that we enjoy the movie and we play it every Thanksgiving. The actual old version, not the Johnny Depp version I'm talking about there. We're going to appreciate Spawnpoint TV a lot more in the future. Or maybe we already kind of appreciate them right now. Maybe it's just the vocal minority that we're giving a little too much credit to for what's going on here. Nobody said anything negative afterwards. All the negativity was before the tournament. After Spawnpoint's tournament, nobody said anything negative. I looked at the feedback channel. Nobody said anything bad at all. They said, thank you. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad I played in it. Yes, 77 teams played in the Shopping Spree tournament. Dropped down to 28 in this tournament. It's a significant drop off from one tournament to the next. That didn't affect the bottom line. It didn't affect the donation pool. It was the donation price was still $1,500. It didn't affect the amount of viewership. 200 people were watching. 200 plus people were watching. A-list commentators. They did ask me to commentate, and I couldn't because I was working, but I would have loved to commentate this event. It seems like you had to do pretty much color commentary for 95% of it, which it would have been a great challenge to commentate this event. And I kind of said, hey, I would love to commentate some stuff for Spawnpoint in the future if my schedule allows it. But this tournament overall was great. So the people boycotting it or having issues with it, maybe they're the ones that are a little bit behind the times. Is the concept as good as Shopping Spree? No. Shopping Spree is much more innovative and I wouldn't say more thought out, because obviously this turf war, the 48% thing was thought out. But I think the Shopping Spree one's more interesting. But that doesn't mean that this is a misstep. I'm excited for whatever concept they come up with next, whether it's Shopping Spree 2 or whatever else they decide to pull out there. Spawnpoint's got a good thing going here. We're going to appreciate them more in the future than what we do right now. And I feel like we already appreciate them a lot. So the sky is the roof, as they say. The ceiling is the roof. So Magic says, here's the question: how do we get more tournaments with prize pools? We reach out to Papa John's, I guess, or getting the right person. I think Spawnpoint had like a donor, like somebody who donated it specifically to that, and obviously the prize pools for Super Jump are basically from our Twitch revenue. Like the initial prize pool is from our Twitch revenue that we get from IPL, and then you get people who donated on top of that. So there you go. I mean, yeah, it's not coming out of my wallet. I know that, but it all comes with building a scene and getting things going. Pay to enter, that's something else that people have been talking about. Maybe we'll do that conversation another day. But that is a fair point. Enough about Spawnpoint. They did a good job, but they weren't the only event to go on this weekend. We got a lot of stuff to cover here on the weekly recap. SOS number 64 was played on the past Wednesday and was won by Moto Manis over No Stingrays. Octostamp Fam Club taking in third place right there. Okay, if you are somebody who listens to this weekly recap like a month or two in the future here, those three names I just read out are going to mean absolutely nothing to you. But congratulations to Moto Manis for beating No Stingrays and Octostamp Fan Club for taking third place right there. Thought that was weird. The team that won Hammerhead bracket was Jet Gang. Congratulations to them. And the team that won Mako bracket is some team called Ocean 7. Not quite sure who those guys are, but hey, at least they're an actual team compared to the others that took place right there. Squid Junction number 21 took place on Saturday, and hey, I recognize a couple of these teams here. The team that won this one, 4 Beans, got first place over Affogato, I believe is how that is pronounced. Finished in second place. The team that finished in third was Deep Fried. Excuse me. The Deep Fried Octolings coming back after I guess taking a couple of tournaments off there, back here and finishing in third place in this 22-team double elimination tournament in the 21st edition of Squid Junction, a part of Dapple Productions. One of the few tournaments of Dapple Productions I actually cover on the weekly recap. Do I have an NA bias? I might. Except for when it comes to talking about the European Major that took place yesterday. King of the Castle 12. This time around was an Area Cup qualifier, so there was something on the line that King of the Castle didn't have to provide. Area Cup did. So Alliance Rogue woke up after a little bit of a delay in the double elimination bracket. After getting bracket reset by Hollow, they ended up taking first place over Hollow. Perfect catch, finishing in third place right there. About 16 teams, I believe, signed up for this King of the Castle tournament, but all the teams that signed up were quality. You don't need a high number of teams to sign up for your tournaments. You just need quality teams to sign up for your tournament. And this King of the Castle tournament had a lot of quality teams. Quality commentators as well. It's good to see Matt commentate something, as well as Dura, and I believe Magic commentated stuff as well, but I was dead asleep by the time that was going on. This is probably the first weekend EU tourney I can remember that started at a legit EU time. I mean, I woke up at 11 o'clock and Grand Finals was going on. All these other tournaments are always 1 p.m. Eastern time, or Eastern Daylight Time, I guess. And for Europe, that's, you're going into midnight here. But this is probably one of the first times they actually played a tournament in Europe where it ended with the sun still up. That's kind of a cool thing for them. Somebody tweeted out, "Oh, thanks IPL for making a tournament that starts at 6 a.m. my time." It's not for you, dummy. It was an EU tournament. EU gets nothing. Nintendo has forsaken them. Any tournament that's open invite, it usually starts and ends with them going deep into midnight. They finally got something, and all the big name EU teams came out, and it was competitive, and it was awesome, and about 200 people were watching it, even though NA was mostly asleep for most of the tournament. So huge success here for King of the Castle number 12, and Alliance Rogue is going on to play in the World Cup. I believe the NA team hasn't been officially announced yet, but I think we all know it's just going to be some sort of fusion dance between FT1 and Starburst. Why they got to play and not in an actual tournament, I don't know. I have nothing to do with Area Cup. You'll have to ask the people in Japan about that one. Purdue hosted Michigan State University in the first ever LAN event between two college teams. The Purdue ended up winning the Big Ten championship, or I guess ITAP in general, knocking off Michigan State University. There was an actual stage, there was stream, the whole 9 yards. It was like an actual Purdue is the home team, Michigan State's the away team, and they played each other. ITAP and PAL were a part of that. And I guess the format doesn't matter. It's the fact that they actually played against each other is the interesting thing there. So Purdue wins the Big Ten championship. They will play UCSD, who won the Pac-12. Winner of that will win the national championship at some point, I'm sure. Again, I kind of said this is the first time. It'd be cool to see more of stuff like this in the future. And again, we don't appreciate ITAP. The more we see college teams play, especially in the CCA, the more we realize ITAP might be one of the best college teams ever. That might be hyperbole to say now. We're so early in the competitive thing. But think about a team of four kids, college kids aren't kids, 4 adults that go to the same university and are good enough to be Div 4 plus. That's extremely rare to see. And you think about how long they've been doing it here. ITAP's an actual legit good team, and they just happen to go to the same university. We're not really going to see something like that again, unless UCSD keeps kind of going. They seem pretty good there, so maybe I just contradicted myself. We do that a lot here on the Popcast. If this is your first time here, just kind of keep up. These things tend to happen. Friday Night Frenzy. 5 Night at Falco's. Week 6 came to a conclusion here. Marine Melody got a 2-1 win over Cake. Essentially a play-in game for the playoffs there. A playoff game that Marine Melody was able to clutch out and win. Prism swept Crab Rave. Cat Perglers get on the W column with a 2-1 win over the Rolling Squids. Macaharia got a 2-1 win over Squid Killers. Squid Killers able to take the first game off of them. They bleed like us, setting up a potential grand finals between those two organizations. Hopefully will be somewhat competitive. One more week to go in the standings there, but the playoffs are officially set. Macageria, Squid Killers, Marine Melody, and Prism all guaranteed to make the playoffs because there's no mathematical way the other teams could jump ahead of them. But still, you're playing for pride in week 7. Always playing for something. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by whatever chain pizza restaurant wants to spoil things for us next. Hey, Domino's. What kind of information are you sitting on that you want to just leak out for all of us to see? Well, there's so many cool things that we want to know the answers to, and these pizza restaurants have all the information, and they're just sitting on it. So, whatever organization wants to do it next, hey, you can be the official sponsor of the weekly recap here on the Popcast. Zuno says, shout outs to Sparty, Michigan State, for making the invitational. They're awesome. It's cool. I want to see more of MSU in some other tournaments. They do play in low-level events, but we haven't seen them in the last couple of ones. Like to see more of Michigan State. Who wouldn't? Penn State. The Nittany Lions on the rise. I don't know how close you are to Happy Valley, but I'm assuming, Magic, you could play a role in that. Maybe that's why you know. Maybe you are playing a role in that. Is Magic just going to go from college to college? Now that you graduated, you're just going to go from university to university, build up a team, and then, like Mary Poppins, open your umbrella and just go wherever the wind takes you next. Starting with the Big Ten schools, I see. And moving up from there. Kraken as in Kraken Mayor? I don't think he's at Penn State. Let's talk about Minnow Cup and then call it a day. I keep forgetting that this was the first tournament Minnow Cup had that was underneath the MIT umbrella, wasn't it? The Mulloway Institute of Turfing. I'm never going to get that right, except I just did right there, but I had to really slow down. I want to call it the Mulloway Institute of Technology, but that's not right. But this was it. Yeah, this is no longer, Minnow Cup's no longer with Deep Sea Solutions. The server's down. I need to leave that Deep Sea Solutions server. But it's now a part of MIT. The major news story that kind of got overshadowed by SendOutQ going on, and nobody really paid attention. But here it is, Minnow Cup, part of MIT, combining the resources. And what did they get out of it? They got a 43 tournament, which is the most teams that have signed up for a Minnow Cup since October of last year, where 42 teams signed up for the Splat Zone edition for that as well. Maybe it's just Splat Zones people like, as opposed to the other modes. It got put on MIT's Twitch channel as well. That's kind of a key feature. That's why I'm surprised more tournaments haven't gotten together. It's like, why do we have these individual Twitch channels that nobody can watch consistently or subscribe to or anything like that, when you can just all stream on one specific channel and you have the same streamer and you can use the same pool of commentators and use each other's resources to make sure you actually get a stream up and running, which seems a lot of tournaments have issues with doing as well. Scheduling's not an issue when you're all part of the same org. So there you go, MIT's first tournament, other than the Launch Point Draft Cup tournaments that they run. Ended up being pretty much a success here. And if you're wondering how does a draft server survive in this SendOutQ era that we're in right now, even though SendOutQ seems to be taking a bit of a dip, you know that when Splatoon 3 comes out, that sucker is going to skyrocket. You're going to play Splatoon 3 just so you can unlock the weapons and get the gear that you want. And as soon as you got that, you're going to quit solo queue and you're going to play nothing but SendOutQ with several other people are going to be on there as well. It's going to be a lot of awesome time. But how do you survive as a draft server in that era with SendOutQ? Well, ask Midpoint, ask Ink Odyssey. It's damn near impossible, it seems like. But if you combine with somebody else and you got a low-level tournament to complement your low-level draft server, kind of helps give you a little bit more of a foothold in the ever-expanding scene that we got going on here. Before we talk about anything, let's just take a look at the top four teams, the semifinals, and let's just point something out here. And I tweeted this out last night, but let's just get this out of the way. These are the four teams that finished in the top four of the of Minnow Cup. There's some things that you look at here. First off, Kraken United. Okay, cool. That's great. We all know who Kraken United is, name brand team. The other teams they played against here, and just head smash on the keyboard, as I believe what the commentators refer to them as. Oh my goodness here. What, guys, come on. We are better than this. This is low level. You guys set the standard for good pickup team names, not and headboard smash. Come on. I mean, what the hell is this? I understand. Now look, these are all teams that we actually know, or these are players that we actually know. These are experienced players. For some extent, I couldn't reckon. We'll go back and look at them in a minute, like each individual team, because I'll give them credit because they did actually good in this tournament. They deserve some credit. But I mean, come on, guys, when you make a pickup team name, you got to come up with something that at least hints at who you are. Right? I mean, when the Crustacean Crusaders do a pickup, they call themselves the Crabs. Summit changes their name to Some of It. Foams keeps adding a new number to their title like they're a Land Before Time sequel. Shiver Me Feeders, that's a great example. Shiver Me Inkling players, literally feeding players. Shiver Me Feeders. It indicates, this is a pickup team, but I know who's associated with this pickup team before even looking at it. Even if it's just one person, Lumina of the Yummy Stars once did a tournament with Yumina and Friends. Makes sense right there. I mean, you can get creative with your names. You don't have to name yourself after a burp. Yeah. You don't have to do that, guys. You can come up with something better than that. I know you can. I know you can. And this is a warning, and I've said this before, and some of you think we're joking, but this is 100% going to happen. The next team to name themselves Pickup or something like this, or just smashing the keyboard. In Low Ink, we are changing your name, and we're going to tell you about it, and we're not going to let you change it back. Oh, you thought we were joking. We were mentioning Legends of the Hidden Temple. All those team names they had for those stupid kids in that show. The blue barracudas, the orange iguanas, the silver snakes. Try us. We will name you. I will have a grand finals that has the orange iguanas taking on the blue barracudas before we have a grand finals that has taking on ya. It's not going to happen. So there we go. Out of the way. We got that out of the way. Now, why did those specific teams make top 4, as opposed to actual name brand teams besides Kraken United? We'll get to that in a second. But first, let's give a little bit of shout out to some other teams that finished, that didn't make top cut specifically, but I do want to give them a little bit of attention regardless. First off, let's start off with the official favorite team of the Popcast, Blue Frickin' Moon, who tweeted out their confusion that they were the number 1 seed. And I don't have exact information about this, but I do want to kind of explain the number 1 seed thing for Swiss. Just because you're the number 1 seed in Swiss doesn't necessarily mean that the TOs are putting you there as the number, like we expect you to be the number 1 team in the whole tournament, especially if Low Ink. If you are in like seed 1 through 8 of your Low Ink Swiss pool, that just means we put you in first. Like whoever the actual number 1, I never look at who's the actual number 1 seed of each Swiss group because it doesn't matter. It's probably just in order of what you signed up that you get 1 through whatever. Honestly, now that I think about how our bots feed the teams into Battlefy. But like if you get the actual number 1 in a Swiss tournament, it doesn't mean anything. It just means you were put in first. Because of like whatever factors that tournaments use. That's not to say now that my theory might be wrong, because as I looked at the groups that Blue Moon was in, I'm thinking, actually Blue Moon does look like the number 1 seed of all the teams that are in here. Pain Bashers was like the number 2 seed. So maybe they do actually seed 1 through specific number. Low Ink, we don't do that. We never will. It's impossible to do with the amount of teams we get, but maybe Minnow Cup did. I don't know. But also, I just want to point out, getting a seed in Swiss, it means nothing. It means literally nothing. First round, it only means something for round 1. And round 2, seeds go out the window, and it's just, oh, you're 1-1. That other team's 1-1. Play them. Oh, you're the 1 seed, and they're the 2 seed. Who cares? You guys just play each other anyways. Just have a grand finals in round 2. Battlefy kind of sucks like that, but that's just why Swiss is a necessary evil, and you shouldn't default to doing Swiss if you're doing a brand new tournament because you think it's what Low Ink does. That means it's going to apply to you. It doesn't. It applies for Minnow Cup here. They've been doing Swiss forever. My point being, Blue Moon did really good. They missed top cut here, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a top team going into the next Low Ink. Hopefully they sign up for it. Shiver Me Inklings. These guys still exist, and it's weird because half of them are banned from Minnow Cup because they've won low ink, and the other half are not because they weren't a part of that Shiver Me feedered team. So Shiver Me Inklings is still trying to play, but if they want to do these low-level skill cap tournaments, which they aren't forced to do, they're not forced to play in low-level skill cap tournaments. They're just choosing to. They're probably just going to have to like rebrand, not rebrand, but probably just reload, get some new players in there. But you still are seeing the Shiver Me Inklings exist. It's just a bit of a nerfed thing, and they're still doing pretty well. Ink in the System plus Day. Hey, there's a perfect example. Hey, we're not fully Ink in the System, but we're not a pickup, so let's change our name. Let's just call ourselves Ink in the System plus Day to kind of indicate, hey, there's a little bit of a sub thing going on here, instead of just naming ourselves Elbow Fart or whatever you guys are coming up with next. Good run in beta bracket of low ink last month. Went 3-2 here, missed top cut, but 3-2 is not something to sneeze at this time around. Ink in the System is a team up on the rise. Keep an eye on them. J. Crouton. Another one of these consistent teams. I think I've seen them play in every single low-level event for the past couple of months now, and we're seeing them get pretty well. They're getting up in beta bracket. They did, I believe they went 3-2 in this tournament as well. J. Crouton's that consistent force. I like to catch these teams early so that when they get up to alpha bracket, you guys know who they are. They deserve attention for being consistently good here. J. Crouton on the rise. Not I Ride, like it is read in English, but is Irida, is how it is actually pronounced, because I listen to the Moray Tavern podcast. LSL team, the last time we see Irida play was in LSL back in February, and it's good to see them back. I like to see in teams that have been around for a long time, and breaks are important and understandable, and hiatuses and all that stuff, but you like to see a team come back. It's good to see Irida. I'll always be happy to see Irida play in any tournament for when they do that. The last team I want to give a shout out here, or at least a mention, Crimson Quake, the next class of alpha bracket teams, or the next class of low ink contenders that's coming up here. Is it time for Crimson Quake? I don't know, but they had a pretty good tournament here, even though they missed top cut. They took 2 losses, and they had a tough schedule. They lost 1-2 to Kraken United and 1-2 to the Yummy Stars. Had the highest opponent win percentage of anybody that played in this tournament through the Swiss stage at 68%. I think the next closest one was like 60. So they had a pretty substantial schedule, and just couldn't close out game 3 on a couple of those ones. Missed top cut because you had to go 4-1 in their Swiss group. It was a requirement. But still, that doesn't mean you should think less of Crimson Quake. These guys are legit, and when they don't have to take breaks to sweep floors, they're actually pretty good. We'll talk about top cut. There's not much. There's not a crazy amount of stuff to talk about just because it's Kraken United and a bunch of other people here. I will give a shout out to the Haunted Squids, though, because this is a team, I believe this is an actual legit team, but I believe this is the first tournament they've actually played in, or at least in as far as Battlefy tournaments is concerned. They are a Div 7 team, so they played through Ludia the last season. So in their first actual legit low-level tournament, they made top cut here. They ran into the headboard smashing team and couldn't close them out in the game 3. But I wanted to give them credit where credit is due. Haunted Squids are legit here. Hopefully they'll play in some more tournaments here. So what Up the Ante made top cut, Yummy Stars, top cut, Squid Killers, top cut, usual suspects here. These pickup teams, we'll give them some credit here. Yeah, finished in second place. Yo finished in third. The players on this team for let me just suggest one here. Just call yourself, I call dibs on Artemis. There, it tells you who 2 players are. That's a fun name. You just call yourself dibs on Artemis. There you go. And everyone knows who you are. That's a good pickup team name there for this team. This team, I honestly don't know. I know some of these players played in low ink, but I don't have. Oh, wait, you're in chat, aren't you? This is you. What tournament did you play in Low Ink? Congratulations on finishing in 4th place. But I can't. I don't have like we don't have our bots connected to anything other than Low Ink, so I can't just like instantly look it up. You are also in chat. How about that? You two are in chat. Well, let me come up with a better pickup team name for you. How about just say, hey, we're the guys in chat. We're the idiots in chat. Next pickup team name, please call yourselves idiots in chat. You'll be my favorite team forever. But you finished in 4th place here. Congratulations on that. The last team, yeah, which if according to my Twitter last night, this was just the placeholder for this team name was and none of the rest of the teammates challenged on it, so they just stuck with it. So there you go. So going up here. But I mean, come on, 57747 Secant. We know who you guys are. Just call yourself the Secant and Friends, or just call, like, come on, just put your name up in here somewhere. Is this the smile I did a send out queue with once? I know there's a couple of different smiles. But still finished in 2nd place here. Congratulations. Now, we got that out of the way. Half a Prism? Just call yourself Half a Prism then. Come on, guys. Yeah, it was the placeholder. I expect better from low level. You guys are better than this. Anyways, let's talk about Kraken United, because this is the 2nd straight time they've won a Minnow Cup, becoming the first team ever to win 2 Minnow Cups. But Pop Gun, no. Don't you but Pop Gun me. I know it wasn't 100% Kraken United that won the last Minnow Cup. I understand that. It was Kraken Legato or Legato United or something like that. Hey, another pickup name that kind of hints at who the players are before you even look at it. I see it. But still, it was mostly players from Kraken United that were on that team that won the last Minnow Cup. And it was 100% players on Kraken United that won this tournament as well. The first team ever to win more than 1 Minnow Cup. How about that? So, and they did it in dominant fashion. They didn't drop a single match all the way through. I think they lost like 3 games total the entire time. Swept their way through Top Cut until was able to take 1 game off of them. But I mean, for Kraken United, you look at it here and you think they're supposed to win this tournament. I mean, it's not like there's teams here that aren't capable of beating them. Obviously, the Yummy Stars, Squid Killers, Crimson Quake, teams that did take games off of them or ended up getting swept by them. Even though if they got swept by them, doesn't mean they can't beat them in the next day or something like that, or a tournament without just one set mode that they can play in here. However, you kind of look at it and you're like, there's no access denied. There's no Heaven's Moonlight. There's no Kodomo. There's no Squirrels. There's not many teams outside of the few. There are teams that can beat them, but the teams that traditionally challenge them just weren't here. And it's not to take anything away from Kraken United, because we've seen teams that are just supposed to win tournaments that don't. They just don't take care of business. So Kraken United avoided the pitfall and took care of business. They were supposed to win this tournament, and they went out and they actually did it. Easier said than done. So they deserve some credit for actually doing it here. And yeah, the access denied, I kind of mentioned this. Access denied, Heaven's Moonlight, Kodomo, Squirrels, Kraken United, obviously. My Lag Paradise. I'm sorry, I forgot you weren't in that tournament as well. I know, don't give me those dots, the ellipses. I forgot to mention you there. You're also in that category there. But like all those teams are in just a different class, like low level, but in a different class of low level. And, you know, they're also in that category of how long are you going to be there, and how long are you going to float around before you just get kicked out of the door? And I'm not sitting here trying to answer that question, because it's, you know, not really my place to do that here live. And that's not really the point. And that's always seems to be the conversation now. Whenever somebody wins Minnow Cup, it's like, well, why'd they get let in the Minnow Cup? When are they going to get kicked out or something like that? Who cares? We'll have those debates and conversations later. Why can't we just ever appreciate winning when it happens? Kraken United just won another tournament. That's great. That's awesome for them. We should just enjoy it and celebrate it while they're here, because we don't know how long all these teams are going to be here. or if they're going to disband or ban themselves from low ink, or beg to be banned from low ink, and then when you ban them from low ink, they ask for exemption requests to get into other tournaments anyways, and it's like, well, wait, what? So just live in the moment, guys. Just live in the moment and just enjoy these tournaments while you're playing them. The greatest thing I can say about this Minnow Cup is that nobody DM'd me during the Swiss stage to ask if we win this tournament, are we going to be banned from low ink? It's just like, all right, that didn't happen. That's already an improvement over there. So just, and again, I'm just glad that Minnow Cup's a monthly tournament now. It's good. That's part of the reason why I'm excited that they're with MIT. It's not a bi-monthly. They're not, well, we can't do it because Megalodon Cup's going on. No, we're seeing consistent Minnow Cups. That's a good thing. Now, if Ash Cup came back, we could have the trifecta, and you could be, Kraken United could try to be the first team to win all three, the unholy trinity of low-level tournaments. I miss Ash Cup. Sue, since I made fun of your team name, we'll read your chat. Nami and I are happy getting fourth in a Minnow Cup for our 3/4 tourney. We think it's something to be proud of. It is absolutely something to be proud of, for sure. And I'll just ask, what, you're sorry to disappoint me. What you did play in low ink, right? What did you guys play? What team name did you guys play in under for low ink? Or is that half Prism? Or is that a different team people were saying were half Prism? I'm not sure. We're good guys, don't scold us? No. All I do is scold people here. Weren't in the same team. All right, fair enough. All right, so that's it. We're done here. We've got all the information we needed out of this tournament. Good episode. It was a fun time. Fun time here on the Popcast. If you would like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, Indiglow and Cherry Bombs. Cherry Bombs, I remember. Okay, that makes sense. If you'd like to be a part of the podcast in any way, send me information about your team. If you want my suggestion on what your pickup team name should be, feel free to reach out to me. My socials below. Twitter at Mr_Popgun, Discord Popgun, #5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun, TikTok at Mr_Popgun. As well. We always raid Kiki. Is anybody else streaming right now that's not Kiki? Beyond Mom? Who is that? Fish. Oh, Fish. I haven't seen Fish stream in a long time. Let's raid Fish. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Probably be talking about squid boards to some extent and some other stuff going on. Stay safe. Get that. The raid has been canceled, but it still says where we're going to raid. The heck? All right. Well, we're going to Fish anyways. See if that works.